Salut, c'est Peter. Vous êtes actuellement sur la chaîne de Captain Spidey et ça va commencer. Alors posez-vous, sinon j'appelle Inspecteur Spider.
Eh bien, salut à tous et à toutes les amis, c'est Captain Spidey, j'espère que vous allez bien. Alors aujourd'hui, on se retrouve, vous l'avez vu, pour ma vidéo réaction sur la preview, la première preview de Marvel's Midnight Suns. Alors non pas par moi, mais par IGN. La vidéo dure à peu près 8 minutes. Voilà, on va un petit peu regarder. Je vous donnerai mon analyse en fin des vidéos sur ce que j'en ai pensé. Est-ce que ça a été amélioré visuellement? Est-ce que la refonte peut se sentir par rapport à ce qu'on a pu déjà voir? Bref, n'hésitez pas à rejoindre le Discord que la description de la vidéo si vous cherchez du monde justement pour parler de ce jeu, ou si vous cherchez tout simplement du monde pour parler de Marvel, etc. etc. Bref, on passe en plein pot, voilà, je nous mets en plein écran et on va voir ce que c'est. Je vous ai mis les sous-titres, donc pas de problème là-dessus. Ok.
I was a bit blindsided by the news that the team behind XCOM 2 was working on a Marvel Tactics RPG with a card-based battle system. When I finally got my hands on Midnight Suns recently, I was even more surprised by just how much of an RPG it really is. With a fully explorable quest hub, party member relationship side quests, and even a crafting system, this really is a first for Firaxis. At times, it reminded me more of a BioWare game than anything they've made before. And who doesn't want to hang out with Spider-Man?
Stay safe, ma'am! I should probably tell you the same thing.
Mélange d'RPG, tout ça, ça peut
The setup is a reimagining of an early 90s comic book story arc, that's Midnight Suns with an O, though readers of the comics should rest assured that this isn't exactly the same story by any means, mainly borrowing a few broad plot elements and cool little details.
Crossbone.
Hydra, everyone's favorite secret society of supervillain fascists, have reresurrected the Demon Queen Lilith, who the devs describe as being on the same level as Thanos power-wise.
Avec des cinématiques, etc.
That's pretty bad. And to make matters worse, she has the ability to corrupt and dominate all kinds of heroes and villains. I faced off against Fallen Venom, and we also know that demonic versions of Hulk and Scarlet Witch will be joining the forces of evil at some point. There's no lack of firepower on our side either, though. The Midnight Suns, that's with a U this time to be more inclusive, are made up of several former Avengers, including Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man, alongside some less high-profile allies like Magic, Blade, Ghost Rider, and Nico Minoru. There will be 13 playable heroes at launch, one of which is yet to be revealed. But the most interesting of them all is your player avatar, a customizable new superhero known as the Hunter.
Ça c'est cool.
The Hunter is fully voiced, and you get to choose their gender and physical appearance. Lore-wise, they're a child of Lilith, making this story personal from the very outset. I was a little bit put off by how much backstory there was for the Hunter, who is hundreds of years old and has been out of commission for quite some time. It's harder to project yourself onto and roleplay as a character who supposedly remembers the time of the Salem witch trials when you're not given much info to start with. And it made me wonder if having more of a blank slate protagonist might have gone over better. But unlocking new costume options and getting some control over how their power set develops was really neat. The Hunter's home and headquarters of the Midnight Suns is the Abbey, a fully explorable open area featuring grand halls and extensive forested grounds, more of which will unlock as the story progresses. You can collect crafting reagents, discover hidden challenge missions, and hunt down lore snippets as you explore it. But the real charm of this place is that you get to hang out with your super allies.
I did not realize you carried such pain.
Pour avoir des genres de relations avec
You think I can afford a therapist on a superhero salary?
Les différents héros.
Watching
C'est
movies
plutôt
with
intéressant en
Nico,
tout cas.
pumping iron with Captain Marvel, or trading quips with Tony Stark is really what makes Midnight Suns come alive.
Not bad for our first collaboration.
It masterfully captures the feel of those downtime pages in a Marvel book on which the heroes are just chilling together. And while the tone of the dialogue sometimes clashes with the supernatural horror of the main plot, Firaxis described it as Saturday morning cartoon inspired, and it rarely strays outside the bounds of a PG rating. All the characters do feel consistent and authentic.
Alors voilà,
The
justement.
reward for spending time with the Sons isn't just strong voice acting either. You can eventually level up your friendship with each hero, which unlocks new options for them in combat, and eventually
Ah, ça c'est cool.
snazzy,
Plus
thematically
vous allez
appropriate
passer de
new
temps, du
team
coup,
costumes. You won't
plus
be
vous avez
able to be
une meilleure
best buds
relation et
with
donc
everyone in a single playthrough.
meilleur
Though. There
combat,
isn't enough
entre guillemets.
time, and some of them might just not like you. Magic, the person, wasn't a big fan of my insistence on the irresponsible use of magic, the dangerous force. So you'll need to be a bit picky about who's in your inner circle. Once you head out to kick some supervillain posterior, you'll be introduced to the unique and deceptively deep card-based battle system. Every hero has a deck comprised of 4 attack and 4 support cards, which can be collected, leveled up, and swapped out as you choose.
Ah, faut aimer après le
Bring 3
style
heroes to each mission
de jeu
and
de
draw a
cartes
number of cards from all of their
stratégique,
decks
quoi.
each turn.
Moi, c'est un
You
genre que
always
je vais
have a
découvrir,
set
j'en ai
number
jamais
of
fait
cards you
auparavant.
can play per turn. But this means you might draw all Iron Man cards on a given turn and thus give Tony the opportunity to gloat later that he did all the hard work.
Mais
Positioning is also important,
ça
but
peut
I
être
found it
intéressant.
kind of cumbersome to maneuver at first, and
J'ai
you only
déjà joué à
get
des jeux
one
de cartes
free move per
style
turn. Not one per hero,
Hearthstone, etc.
one per
Mais vraiment là,
turn.
en
The
comme
levels
ça, j'ai
themselves are almost
jamais
all
essayé.
flat arenas, which is probably the most disappointing part of
Voilà,
Midnight
t'as New
Suns
York.
thus far. There are a
Plein
lot
de
of
choses.
environmental elements scattered around,
Et donc
like
oui, vous pouvez
heavy
utiliser
objects to
l'environnement, ça on
throw
l'avait
and
déjà vu
structures
avec,
to vault off of.
avec
But
Wolverine,
after the
etc.
5 or 6 hours I played, the fact that every mission takes place in an open warehouse or an open street or in an open field started to get a little bit old. Aside from that, the combat flows well and you can pull off some really cool combos. Every hero has a unique ability of some kind, like Captain Marvel's ability to go binary after playing 3 cards in succession, gaining a temporary boost to armor and damage. Minion enemies like random Hydra goons go down in one hit with any amount of damage, so chain attacks that hit more than one foe can really change the tide of battle quickly. Against big brutes and bosses, Blade's ability to inflict bleed is really useful. No matter what team I brought, the personality and fighting style of the characters really shined through, and I enjoyed
La
figuring out
direction
how they could set each
artistique
other
est
up for a
plutôt stylée.
perfect finisher.
I was in the neighborhood, you know, being friendly.
Well, I definitely think there's room to make Midnight Suns arenas more interesting, evoking
savoir la
the
VF
exciting
de chez
and
nous.
often unconventional places superheroes end up doing battle. I was only really able to scratch the surface of this combat system in the time I spent with it. And there are plenty of other ways this tactical RPG makes me really excited, from the excellently animated signature abilities to the chance to discover new and devastating synergies between them. The plot is rich and compelling without feeling convoluted, and it oozes comic book flavor, even when it feels like it could stand to be a little bit less kid-friendly to match its dark premise. And the chance to become best friends with some of my favorite Marvel heroes might be the most enticing part of all.
Ouais.
Marvel's Midnight Suns will be springing into action on October 7th. For more, check out the original gameplay presentation by Firaxis. And for all your other superhero game coverage, stick with IGN.
Scarlet Witch,
Collected works of the universe's greatest sorcerers,
très stylé.
and he left them underneath the takeout menus.
Shifting mystical polarities are wreaking havoc on my portals.
Ok. Eh ben, vous savez quoi, les amis, j'ai trouvé ça vraiment sympa. Visuellement, ça a l'air d'être vraiment beaucoup plus joli que ce qu'on avait vu auparavant. Et ouais, le fait que vous ayez la possibilité comme ça de avec les différents héros présents, d'établir des liens d'amitié, donc ça, du coup, ça vous apporte du bonus. C'est-à-dire que ça vous encourage à faire certaines activités secondaires pour pouvoir justement développer ces rapports-là et à gagner en puissance, voilà, faire tout ce qui est extérieur pour augmenter vos decks de cartes. Ça va être vraiment intéressant. Comme je vous l'ai dit, moi c'est pas un style de jeu que j'ai l'habitude de jouer, en tout cas pas dans cette direction-là, avec entre le mélange du tour par tour, plutôt de la stratégie et de du jeu de cartes. Parce que c'est vraiment l'atout majeur de ce genre de jeu, c'est vraiment d'avoir le meilleur deck possible en fait pour pouvoir faire un maximum de dégâts. La question c'est est-ce que sur certaines missions il va falloir favoriser par exemple je sais pas moi Iron Man, Doctor Strange, etc. ou alors des autres missions avec plutôt Ghost Rider, etc. Donc vraiment 13 héros jouables. Ça me semble plutôt intéressant. Le fait de pouvoir custom votre nouveau personnage, nouveau héros, que vous pouvez mettre un homme, une femme, avec les skins, etc. Non, vraiment, je pense que vous savez quoi ? Je pense que ce jeu est peut-être, en tout cas, bon, c'est sûr que ça plaît pas à tout le monde, peut-être pas sous-estimé, mais je pense qu'il peut surprendre plus d'un. Je sais pas, j'ai comme un genre de feeling comme ça qui me dit que ça peut être peut-être vraiment intéressant. Voilà, écoutez, c'est tout pour cette vidéo, j'espère qu'elle vous aura plu. N'hésitez pas à me dire dans les commentaires ce que vous en avez pensé. Dès que j'ai du nouveau sur ce jeu, je vous en tiens informé. Bref, d'ici là, prenez soin de vous, ciao ciao tout le monde, bye bye.